It's amazing that a lot of people are now having the courage that they need to start their own businesses. But before you start your business, consider these lessons and avoid these mistakes. I have personally lost a lot of money, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Almost $100,000 down the drain. But of course, it has come with a lot of lessons that I would love to share with you today in this video. My name is Samantha. If you are new here, you are most welcome. Please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you catch future videos. I make one video every week on careers, skills development, and entrepreneurship. So there's definitely a growing trend towards being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship promises financial freedom and having all your time, total control over your time. But it does take a minute and it takes a while before you get to that stage where you are truly financially free. And it goes without saying that if you want to become something or someone, or if there's something that you want to achieve and attain, learn from those people who have achieved the very thing that you are going after. But I also feel that it's really important to learn from people's mistakes. One of my favorite statements by Andrew Womack is that you don't have to go through the school of hard knocks. You can actually learn and live vicariously through other people's experiences and mistakes. And that's why I have decided to do this video, because at one point in my life, I had decided to venture into businesses. And I did that, but I also made a lot of mistakes that left me heavily in debt, and mistakes that I feel now, if anybody wants to start a business, should at least know and start from this level. And while I was preparing for this video, I actually saw a couple of videos that I want to be sharing with you at the end of this video, that are talking about the things that you should consider, or how you can know that you really want to do this, that you really want to get into business. One of them is by Dan Locke, and the second one is by a young lady called RUFARO, where she talks about the 7 income streams, but from an African perspective. So if you're in Africa or based in Africa, you can actually take a lot of lessons from this video, because she touches on the different ways that you can make extra income. Right now, we are in the thick of the global pandemic, and it has left a lot of people a bit in sticky situations, to say the least. Some people's incomes have totally been stripped or reduced, and a lot of people are forced to kind of think of other ways and means to make ends meet. So yeah, with that being said, it's really amazing and fantastic that you want to start a business, and I would love to see you succeed and to do well. So the driving force and the motivation behind you starting a business will be different to why the next person wants to start a business. But bottom line is, anybody and everybody who wants to get into a business or start a business venture is to make money, to make a profit. So nobody actually gets into this expecting or hoping to fail. But yet, 20% of businesses actually fail within the first year that they started, and 50% fail to make it over the 5 years. So these are real statistics, and these are people who are really putting everything that they have into their business ventures, but coming up short and then experiencing losses or even getting into debt, as I've done through running a business. So this is really why I wanted to get down and do this video, because I've made mistakes and I really want to help you to avoid any losses. Lesson number 1 is dream big, but start small. And guys, although this is the very first lesson that I'm saying I learned, it was a hard lesson to learn, because I hated anybody and would literally kill anybody who told me to start small. I'm like, it translates to me in my mind that you're telling me to be small, to diminish my vision, to think small, and you're just not getting me. You don't understand. You don't see how big my vision is. You don't see what I see. You don't know where I want to go. And we are tempted to start big. And what I did personally is a few years ago, I left a job where I was doing pretty well as a public relations manager. I've mentioned it before in previous videos, but I was doing pretty well, and I decided, hey, I want to start my own business. And I've always been somebody who's hands-on with things. I've always liked creating things. Fashion designing, creating garments. I was always making my own stuff, and I had a lot of people who'd ask me like, "Oh, I like what you're wearing," and that's how I started. It started off as a hobby, and I was making clothes for people, and eventually, a lot of people were coming to me to have stuff made for them. I even did wedding gowns for some friends, and other things, lots of things. So I decided just to step it up and run this as a business. But because I had been in the corporate world, I wanted it to start off as a polished thing. I wanted to be a high-end fashion design studio, everything to be nice, crisp, and I got brand new machines. My initial investment was about $10,000, which I used to buy brand new machines. I got custom-made furniture, believe it or not. I got all the stuff that you need for an office, even though it's not an office, it's just a tailoring studio. I got the computers, the printers, everything, like I had to match, staplers, paper punching, everything. Imagine it. I did it. I got fancy glassware, everything, because I wanted people to come in, walk into my fashion studio and feel like, oh, it's established. I literally just wanted people to feel like they've arrived. And by doing so, another thing that I did is I started off with like 3 or 4 full-time staff, which were honestly not necessary at that time because my business, the business that I was bringing in or the customers that I had were not enough to substantiate or to justify those expenses. So every month I had to pay 3 people their full salaries, and I had an expensive rental space that I had decided to move into. I had spent my capital injection instead of buying things like fabrics and starting with a collection that I can have like off the rail collection to support people who are coming in to get stuff custom made. They could have at least found some stuff on the rail, like, to subsidize your income. But anyway, those are all the mistakes that I made. And I feel like I had to learn this lesson, I think, at least 3 times, because in my mind, I have a vision of where I want to go. So when I tell you to dream big but start small, I'm not diminishing your dream. I'm not telling you to think small or to be small. I really understand and recognize that you have a great vision that you see in your mind that nobody else might be able to see or to understand. But where you start, do not violate the principles of growth. You will never harvest the same day that you plant a seed. There's always the element of seed, time, and harvest. There are a lot of things that need to happen or need to take place or that you need to do within the time that you plant and that you get this bountiful, amazing harvest. And the harvest that we're all after is that financial freedom and total control over our times. And it does take a while to get to that. So at the end of my business venture, this business that I was telling you about where I had a fashion design studio, I was in debt. I was in debt because every month I had accruing expenses of rentals, bills, and salaries that came like clockwork, but the business was not coming in that at the same rate. And in the end, actually, I hurt myself because I started putting my prices up so that the few customers I had were actually spending more or having to pay more for services in order for me to cover my overheads and expenses. Honestly, I chased my customers away because now they used to come to me for a service which was affordable. They could not afford it anymore. Well, they probably could afford it, but it was just overcharged. It was just exorbitant and unfair. And they had no reason to stick with me and to keep coming to me because I was now overpriced. And so I lost customers. They were not referring other people to me. So in the end, I had these fixed expenses, rent, bills, you name it, and no business. And I had to close it. I had to close it and go back to working, go back to office work. So I managed eventually to get a job and pay off the debt that I had accrued over time from mismanagement, total mismanagement. And what I should have done with this business is really just start small. I could have bought pre-owned or second-hand sewing machines instead of importing from South Africa, including duties, transportation, tax, you name it. All of those were extra charges that were coming into my pocket because I wanted a crisp, clean setup that would look more than what it is, basically, bottom line. I just wanted it to look established, and it was not. What you do want to do is go through the process, develop your roots. Go downward first, develop a foundation, a firm foundation, so you can stand when the wind and the storms come, and they certainly will come. You want to be rooted and grounded, and you want to have a firm foundation, a firm footing as far as your business development goes. So definitely do not violate the principles of seed time and harvest. Those principles apply regardless of what business you're in. Lesson number 2 is that getting in business is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes time and patience. Of course, we see some overnight success. There are exceptions to every rule, but the general tendency is that it takes time to develop a business and the rewards are not immediate. So if you have $10,000 or $20,000 or $5,000, whatever amount that you are starting with, especially if you want to get into business full-time and you don't have another source of income, I would recommend that you look at your expenses and hold back enough money to survive on for at least 6 months to a year, because you will need to survive and your business may not pick up or have customers immediately. Some businesses will, but it's not always the case. So do have this financial cushioning to allow yourself to grow with the business and to actually take proper business steps. And don't violate, again, as we said, those principles of growth. You want to do something or do your business in a way that helps people have more confidence in who you are and the product and service that you are delivering. And this will help you in the long run. Lesson number 3 is that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Once I had worked and cleared off the debt that I'd accumulated from my previous venture, I decided to get into a different type of business. I invested $10,000 into what turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. This company was an investment company that traded in minerals and currencies, and you didn't need to know much about trading because they would trade for you. They would create a portfolio for you at a minimum $10,000 investment, and they would be trading in currencies, minerals, you name it, on your behalf. All you need to do is just get profit, right? So the first month I was in this, I got $500. I managed to withdraw it. And the second month I got $700. And the third month they were nowhere to be found. Literally nowhere. No website, offices, phones, everything was just literally gone. And a lot of us lost money. And my friends had been in this business for a while. And what they did is they'd actually built this up over like a number of years where they were getting people to come in and they were just paying people off. And I think how they did it, or how they scammed people, is that when you join, your $10,000 would go and pay other people like their profit. And as more and more people came in and they saw like, okay, well, now we've got like a lump sum or a huge amount of money, we can just disappear. And that's exactly what they did. I am not getting into such investments ever again. So just do look out for some of those things. And right now, people are vulnerable because they're looking desperately for ways to make extra income. So these type of businesses are going to creep up. Believe it or not, there are people who are heartless out there who don't care that, they're just taking advantage and manipulating people who are in need. They're going to be looking at you and finding an opportunity to make a quick buck for themselves. Just be wary as well of these things that do sound too good to be true, because they generally are. Lesson number 4 is the reason why drop shipping has become such a big thing. And that is to avoid overstocking. You really can lock up a lot of money in stocks, in things that you think are going to be selling or things that are doing well at that minute. And then the next minute, the trends have changed. We're living in such a fast-paced world that if you have a product, you need to sell as much of it as possible, as soon as possible, because your stock can really become obsolete literally overnight. So you would think that after losing money twice, I've learned my lesson and I should just get a job and sit down and be quiet and enjoy my 9 to 5, right? No, that's not me. I decided again to get into a business. This time it was a hair extension business. And as you may know, women of color, we love to wear hair extensions. And this is good business. Hair business has always been good business for years, decades. So I decided to venture into hair extension business, and it went really well at the beginning. It went so well, and I was only ordering from my suppliers what I needed. My initial customers were my friends and family and people around me, and they were willing to wait. But as the business grew and I got more and more customers, people were not willing to wait so long for their product. And the wisest thing to do now is that business is doing really well. So I made this bulk order, and my order came in, and it was really good because now I was able to supply my product really quickly. But not too long after, wigs became the thing. Like really, like after I bought all this stock, like wigs are now the thing. And guess what I have to do? Is to buy more stock. But now my stock has to be wigs. You know, different types of wigs, different shapes, different lengths, different colors. And you realize that you've actually put in more than you're getting out, and I'm wasting money. So if you are gonna have any product-based business, please take it from me. It is so painful to lose money. Manage your stocks and avoid overstocking by all means. If you are getting any value from this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. That's the only way that I can know that I'm actually making sense. So yeah, I do look forward to hearing back from you. So lesson number 5, it really kind of sums up all of these, and I feel like it's the most important lesson of all, is that you need to sharpen the axe. Abraham Lincoln once said, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. It's that you need to do your research up front. You need to do your homework. Brilliant ideas pay off and bring you prosperity, but hasty and impatient decisions lead you to great financial loss. So you want to avoid financial loss. Don't make quick and impatient decisions. It will result in losses. So save yourself, spare yourself, and take your time to do your research up front. But I know, of course, when you have a new and amazing idea that's burning up inside of you and you just want to get it started, that research is boring and it's really, it feels like a waste of time. But guys, it's really important. It's really so important for you to go sit down and research into that thing that you want to do. Chances are there's already somebody doing it. There are very few ideas that are new ideas under the sun. So really look into other people who are doing it, or other people who've tried it and have failed. Why did they fail? Where did they fail? This is really going to help you out to save you time and money. And as we said at the beginning of the video, you don't have to experience every bad thing on your own. You can learn from other people's mistakes, because the reality of it is often so different from the imagination or the expectation of what it would be like. So research as much as possible. I really could go on and on and on about this, but bottom line is these are things that could easily bring me shame. I could feel shame in all my errors and mistakes. My life has been a trial and error. But if you can benefit and grow and start from a higher and better place because of this, because of my mistakes, that makes me feel better. That makes me feel like my mistakes have actually been well worth it. So even though there are bad things that I have gone through, I still feel like they are stepping stones to success. So you might go in your business and start your venture and may not work out as you have planned and imagined, but don't look at it so much as a failure, but as a stepping stone to success, because now you know how not to do something. So at least it brings you one step closer to how you should do it. So guys, these have been my 5 takeaways from all my experiences. But if you have had different takeaways from this, all the stories that I've told you, please leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what your takeaways have been. So just a quick recap, definitely dream big, but start small. Remember that the rewards are not immediate. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Avoid overstocking your products and do your research up front. Count your costs. Guys, I hope that this video has been valuable to you, and if it is, please give it a thumbs up. I look forward to hearing from you, so leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.